Aloha, Nityanandam. Start the video with a communion prayer. You are welcome to say the prayer of your tradition. I prefer silence. Thank you. Welcome to tonight's episode of The Melting Pot. Doing and being investigative, diplomatic, mediator, liberator in the global neighborhood of subjective truths, Hawaii's Luau of interculture, interfaith buffet style. I don't take sides. I'm for global peace treaty, global bureau of conveyance, family-centric, consciousness-based lifestyles and societies. Advocate mothers to initiate third eye and Kundalini through umbilical cord initiation, a message to share with all of humanity entrusted by Cosmos as a divine mother on behalf of all divine mothers, so all live powers from day one with no discrimination. So this is the neighborhood, the global neighborhood of race, religion, spirituality, belief systems, very unique as our fingerprints. There is a meme that is circulating throughout the World Wide Web, and it asks the question, if all religions teach peace, why can't all religions achieve peace? The answer is all religions are unique, they're not the same. The answer is Advaita. One Dharma, duality, is never the solution, it only leads to war. Only Advaita, oneness, communion, is the solution. All religions do not teach at Advaita. In one Dharma, there may or may not be Advaita, but in Advaita, there is all one Dharma. That's the answer. So what does that mean? In this global neighborhood, the one Dharma, if you start your existence and definition of cosmos from your one house, your one family, your one Dharma, your one religion, your one spiritual belief system, your one corporation, your one trust, your one whatever. If you start there, it only leads to competition, and when taken too seriously, escalates into infighting and leads to war, war is just ganging up and bullying at the fundamental level. So in order to stop that from happening, there's nothing wrong having pride in your subjective truths and your relationship with whatever God or gods you choose to walk through life with. It's a beautiful thing. But to impose and gang up together to perpetuate that ego feel good is not right. It leads to the mess that we have now. So for me, I don't take sides. And in this global neighborhood, I would like to take the time to stop and a moment of silence for the Congolese people and this Congolese man who set himself on fire in protest of the genocide. If you're using tech, it's blood tech, because the slavery has been going on for decades long, enslavement, and of children as young as 4 years old are forced to mine raw materials for these tech companies. and they don't have it, they don't receive anything of it. So I would like to share the video that I came across, and the major news reportings won't put this out there. So
a Congolese man set himself on fire to bring attention to the ongoing genocide and exploitation that is happening to his people in the DRC. The video is circulating all over Twitter, and now it has made its way to TikTok right now. And people are outraged. And I actually searched up the whole situation to see if there's articles on it. And no BBC or CNN or Washington Post, none of these big publications covered it, because they want to hide what they are doing in the DRC. So the man literally set himself on fire. Like, I don't even know how he can have that kind of courage, but just to like bring attention to what's happening to the people of Congo. Like, they've been exploited. Millions of people, children at the age of 4, are mining cobalt and coltan and all kinds of stuff for the tech companies and all kinds of stuff. Okay, and I don't know if you have seen the video, but it's pretty heavy. And because we need to bring attention to this issue, guys. Nobody's talking about what's happening in Africa and how these people are suffering from the same colonial power. Israel, America, Britain, France, all these people are taking advantage of these innocent people and their lives. The conflict in the DRC is fueled by the competition for the rich natural resources of the region, such as gold, coltan, and cobalt, which are used in various industries and technology. Literally, every big company, every tech company, development, everyone is taking advantage of the Congolese people and their natural resource, which belongs to them, and they're not even profiting from it. They're being forced to mine it. First of all, do all the hard work, risk their lives, and then these people steal it from them and come and make billions of dollars worth of profit off of these people's lives. So please share this video, make it go wild, even outside of TikTok. If you see other people talking about this, nobody is covering this. There's no news articles covering this. Like, they don't care, because they're gonna lose profits if the world wakes up to support the Congolese people and also the Sudanese people and all the other exploitation and genocides in Africa. So please share this video outside of TikTok. Let's talk about this. The Congolese people desperately need us.
let's take a moment of silence to pray for the solutions to come, for the right things to happen for these people. Thank you. So on that same note, if we remain silent for animal mothers, the same atrocities are happening to our fellow humans. For example, like Congo, what community in their right mind would allow 4-year-old children to be enslaved unless they are raping women to ensure that that human resource is continued? So let's go vegan, right? Don't eat the homies. So it's basically the structures, the elitists or supremists, the hierarchical chosen ones. That's a mental setup. Racism, imperialism, Nazism, Zionism, Brahmanism, Judaism, which are bank strategies executed through all religions, countries, and cultures, designed to divide and conquer, to enslave all, the masses, you. All of it is debt slavery. To who? Did they even work? The banks? For the money that they just push a button to print? And it doesn't even print. There's only, when I did the research, and if you are following me, you would have seen that only about 10% of the money circulating is actually in physical form. Most of it is digital. So to who? So if you follow the money, right? The bankers and their banking families. And it's not just the banking families, it's a full-on swarm, as Dr. Shiva is educating us all on that. You can go to truthfreedomhealth.com and become a warrior scholar trained in swarm, it's an education system of systems. And everything is already by app and AI. And if you are not aware of this, I'm telling you, my positions are the positions I have because everything is possible already. There is no reason why Global Peace Treaty, Global Bureau of Conveyance, and everyone being a self-governed sovereign, having their own country, is not impossible. Anybody who tells me so, it's no. The only impossibility is the ego and control freaks that have issues to me. It's narcissism. And that's the things that are coming out from those who are sharing about that. So all of it is basically grandpas fighting over whose family story is better and more legitimate. Basically, well, what is that? Who did the crayon scribbles first? And whose crayon scribbles is nicer? And then which crayon scribbles scribbled their own first law book? When laws are words with guns. And it's all that it is. So my question is founded on what? Violence, posturing, threatening, imposed ignorance, theft, torture, caging, kidnap, rape, prostitution, science experimenting, torture, murder, genocide. And how does that really matter? Only to the guy waving around his crayon scribbles on the other side of the rock wall. Crazy neighbor suffering from narcissism. Talking about crazy neighbors and rock walls. I have 2 neighbors who steal rocks from the rock wall. For serious. In broad daylight too. Multiple times. Catching them. Whatever, saying whatever. It's crazy neighbors, right? On the other side of the rock wall. I advocate to heal anxiety and depression. Do your DNA genealogy and your spiritual genealogy so you can regain what was stolen from you and hidden from you by colonizers. It'll be the most delicious, beautiful adventure into celebrating your life with food, dance, music, medicine, and spirituality, which is DNA and culture. You're going to find out what's in your DNA. Yep. What's in your DNA? Colonizers use treaties for bait and switch. Treaties are contracts. For me, I don't contract. It either is or it isn't. And if it was just temporary, I don't want to go through paperwork for temporary stuff. So I don't contract. It either is or it isn't. Finish. When you love yourself enough, meaning when you love yourself enough, meaning when you understand your needs and believe that they are worthy, you will no longer find attractive people who cannot fulfill those things for you. Yeah. Just be yourself. The world will adjust. And that goes out to all my Rainbow Dash sisters, right? Watching My Little Pony, right? Never worry about who will be offended when you speak the truth. Worry about who will be misled, deceived, and destroyed if you don't. Always do your own research. You take people's word for it, but always fact check and trust yourself, because you don't know who's willing to set you up to throw you under the bus just for, whether it's they don't know what's going to happen, so they want guinea pigs, or it's for shits and giggles, for serious. So, those are things that people are not transparent about. So, especially legally and the laws, you go take a look for yourself. The reason why is because interesting. I'm still yet to find a good video that uses a different word salad than this, but possibly Cosmos is like, that's the word salad you go and use, and you go carry that flag march. That could be what it is. I don't know. But it is what it is, and this is what's being happening.
Right. This is one of my favourite sentences of all time. Let me tell you why. Every time you say it, if you emphasise a different word, it changes the meaning of the sentence. I didn't say we should kill him. 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 It's really fun. Give it a go.
So, because people read things different due to the lenses from, or vested interest that they have themselves straight jacketed and chained to whatever, they will perceive whatever is they read or communicating. And then there's the other component of emotional state in which someone read it, studied it, all of that. It's all convoluted in there. So for your own safety, please don't take people's word for it. You can trust them at that moment, but you do your own research to verify so that it's check. If it ain't check, then the integrity of that person, right, becomes questionable. Or it could be you, right? It could be your lenses interpreting whatever they're saying too. So in that multidimensional subjective truth, right, my peer group is popes, supreme pontiffs, and such, because I'm starting my own sampradaya and holding that there. So Yeah, I'm only looking at subjective truths. An additional side thing is the legalities, because that's where the rubber meets the road. What do you do, right? So because I'm starting my own sampradaya, I referring to myself as a secular Hindu quantum catalyst fusionist. So all inclusive, meaning the actual Hindu that is not being contaminated by the banker's agenda. The guru sorts jati, birth, or nepotism into varana, character, nature. So the Hindu is enlightenment for all ecosystem, inclusive of all sampradayas, and that's 10,000 plus indigenous aboriginal cultures, people, traditions, spirituality, all gods and goddesses, because consciousness is held sacred. Why the secular portion? For me, the true secularism is when the taking of all the essence of all religions and living it, experiencing it, not the pseudo-secularism, discarding all great truths of the religions and living your own materialistic culture. So for me, because of my inclusivity and honoring, no matter what burns I must go through for whatever, honoring everyone, individual, subjective truth, it is what it is. But I have my own, and this is where it gets very interesting. Very few people well, it's because I'm not trying to create a following either. I'm just like, here, third eye Kundalini, if I can find your tradition that has power manifestors, I will point you in that direction, because the consciousness diversity still needs to be perpetuated and intact. But for those who are very serious, I point to Swamiji, right? For power manifestation, because I'm talking about power manifestation. Not all 1-1 dharmas initiate and train, nor talk about, nor embrace power manifestation. They talk about it, they read about it, but they've been subjugated that they are not power manifestors. So anyway, next, moving along. I advocate for mothers to initiate third eye and Kundalini through umbilical cord initiation, because the 460 powers of Mahadeva are real. Hinduism is real. Mother is the first guru. The female form, or its mother and father, is the first guru. The female form is the walking temple of life, more sacred and holy than all the temples, churches, holy places, and human achievement combined. The last guardians of the future, keeping everything current, including DNA, entrusted by the cosmos, Paramashiva, God. And for me, I'm living the full dynamic of my rights to start my own family, lineage, sampradaya, vibe tribe, whatever you want to call it, of self-governed families expressing their own liberated consciousness, ensuring up-to-date DNA expressions spiritually, economically, and politically. For me, I consider myself a sounding board, because life is just an adventure, right? And we're all manifesting different things for what we took the body for. And so, just a sounding board, right? I empower with independence. Independence of self is true mother worship. No one will ever grant me my birthright. Women are the source of posterity, thus the right to have one's own country and currency, not the UN, not anyone or group. Time is life, and I'm advocating for 1-1 hour exchanges only. Then that way there's no hierarchical constructs of wage, low, middle class, or whatever, because that's total insult to cosmos, God, everybody is. That's where the disconnect is happening. Why? Because the bankers. I wouldn't say the bankers, it's those who have control freak tendencies. That's the source of it. And all mothers are global leaders. I advocate homeschools. And only Cosmos Paramashiva God granted me, blessed me with life today, same as you, whoever you call upon. And of course, Moksha, Peace Treaty, self-governed sovereignty. You are here paying rent to who is a legit question, right? And especially for women, we're the source of life. And the way that society is now, it's all electronic and digital. Paperwork, paper pushing is whatever, right? Because you can set it all up with apps and stuff for whether you're running a business or a corporation, it can all be done through apps to report to whoever or whatever. Because I ain't counting beans. I'm not a bean counter. I don't contract. I don't know. It either is or it isn't. You go shove that paperwork and that bean counting. I don't know where. It exists somewhere in this cosmos, but it ain't going to be part of my reality. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Just looking at all of it and just be like, wow, all these posturing people and their control freak stuff. So I'm advocating to redefine slavery because it's built in the constructs. If landlords exist, slavery exists. You paying. And then there's like the debt slavery too, but you gotta pay for somewhere to live. To who? Right? For a place you don't even stay at very much because you all, before you can even think about eating. How many people are you paying? Right? How many people are you paying? Share this video here.
Gen Z doesn't agree that $74,000 is middle class. No kidding, it's not even close. Check this out. If you take $74,000 for a Gen Z, or let's say they have a bachelor's degree and they're 25 years old. First of all, $74,000 is much higher than the average income. Most Gen Zers are probably making anywhere from 40 to 50, maybe 60, but let's use 74. The take home after taxes, 401k, and health insurance is $4,300. The average college monthly payment on a loan is about $500. You're down to $3,800. Let's say this person is financially responsible, decides to split a 2-bedroom apartment in a medium-sized city like Orlando, so that their payment is $1,200 a piece, $200 for utilities, so $1,400. Now, unless they're going to have Lucky Charms and peanut butter and jelly, their groceries are going to cost about $600 if they're trying to get chicken, beef, and some healthy stuff. You have a $400 car payment, $200 in insurance, $150 for gas, $100 for a cell phone, leaves you with $950. This is no savings, investment, no emergency fund. Let's give them at least $300 to go on a couple dates or hang out with their friends for the month so they can enjoy life a little bit. They're left with only $650. A bachelor's degree, $74K salary. You are splitting a 2-bedroom apartment with a friend and only have $650 left a month. It would take you years to save up the $30,000 that you would need for a down payment on a house with the closing costs. But even if you could get that down payment saved, you would still need to make $120,000 a year to be considered for a $400,000 loan. The middle class, the goalpost has been moved from $70K to $120,000 in just the past 2 years.
I don't want to say it's the past 2 years. It's been set up this way. Right? Way before, hundreds of years, it's been set up this way. We're still apparently, possibly still living under Roman rule, right? It just upgraded its whatever with technology to keep on hiding their control freakness. Now, what are we perpetuating? What are we consciously perpetuating? And I'm advocating to normalize handmade gifts, digital gifts, regifting, secondhand gifts, consumable gifts, experience gifts, and small business gifts. Hawaiian American Peace Treaty, Global Peace Treaty, Moksha Peace Treaty, which is self-governed personal responsibility of unalienable rights. Global Peace Treaty is actual and factual humanitarian law, not that book that Vattel wrote. It's arbitrary. There's no applicable remedy. Global Peace Treaty has applicable remedy. The Global Bureau of Conveyance ensures collective integrity of mutual respect and honorable conduct. It also removes the necessity for borders. Global Fair Trade for Roots Culture, Master Artisans, Women's Safe House, and separating agriculture and livestock in law and policy. So again, for me, I initiate third eye and Kundalini, opening up your Sahasrara chakra. I recommend people to roll their breakfast. I know who rolls their breakfast and who doesn't. No opinion, because people make their own choices. And so I can only point and allow the free flow of unfolding that happens, because I trust Paramashiva, I trust the cosmos, and all of it is from the space of eternity for win-win-win. Yep. And the actual line of when Satya Yuga begins is when mothers are encouraged and supported for this fact, so that all, with no discrimination, live powers from day one. So again, yes, I do initiate third eye and Kundalini, train some basics. Those who are very serious about power manifestation, because it is a lifestyle, I point to Paramashivoham Swamiji. Swamiji is saying he's Adi Guru, so Tatastu, point over there. You can join Paramashivoham and get trained, initiated and trained, 460 powers of Mahadeva. For those that I find from power manifesting traditions, when I'm able to find those where is training, I will start pointing there. But for right now, I just encourage people to, I am very strongly encouraging people, specifically Kanaka Maoli, where my feet actually are, to live their culture. The consciousness diversity is more important for me to perpetuate, because colonizers have been genociding everybody, right, with their toxicity, and then they're like, oh, the global warming, well, it's your fault, in my opinion, because earth people who they colonized and raping the natural resources and whatever, like the people of Congo, right? Why don't we look there first? So today in Paramashivoham, the initiations for level 1 is Nirbhaya, or fearlessness living, the cleansing and clearing of the Swadhisthana chakra for that fearlessness. And level 2, the knowledge of Ken Upanishads was downloaded, and the initiation into will persistence and pure questioning. And then for the level 3, Paramatma Shakti, super determinism, will persistence, the energy of Ganga. So that's what was huge blessings. And that super determinism, yeah, I definitely need that continued will persistence, because what am I dealing with? Even slowly and slowly, the unfolding of the level of control freakness that has been done to humanity, and trying to undo all of that and try to straighten that out. definitely requires not just will persistence, but super determinism. Because it's on every level. And I'm saying every level. Every level. So I want to share a video by this guy. What he's talking about are things that is gone over in lengthy in-depthness in a completion process and expansion process. But I want to share this first clip by this guy and then another clip by Swamiji so that you can see the difference and hopefully understand and grasp the length, depth, breadth difference of what is being communicated.
This took me like 30 years to figure out, and I figured it out on this tour. And there's good biological evidence for this now, that if you put yourself in a new situation, then new genes code for new proteins and build new neural structures and new nervous system structures. Same thing happens to some degree when you work out, right? Because your muscles are responding to the load, but your nervous system does that too. So you imagine that there's a lot of potential you locked in your genetic code. And then if you put yourself in a new situation, then the stress, that's the situational stress that's produced by that particular situation, unlocks those genes and then builds new parts of you. And so that's very cool, because who knows how much there is locked inside of you.
So today, like, it's an all-day retreat, spiritual retreat and training program in, like, today was that will persistence, and essentially this man was explaining one of the dimensions of that. That's a video that in Parma Shivoham is not shared. They have a full day things of Hindu knowledge. And so one of the videos of Swamiji's that I'm going to share, they didn't share this one, but this is what I want to help understand, because he's touching on the genetics, but this is Hindu way of explaining that opening up of the genetics.
The subatomic particle quarks is the bindu, the life energy. And nada is the force which creates energy field. He says, Arunagirinathar is a great master. He puts nada as first, bindu second. Because bindu by its own existence is Shava. Only when the nada is added to it, it becomes Shiva. That is what Tantra Shastra describes as Shiva lying on the ground and Kali standing on it. She is nada, the binding force, and the Shiva is bindu. Unless the nada acts as a binding force, bindu has no action. Nothing is possible by the bindu.
So as you can see, Hindu knowledge is, to me, beyond university education. It's beyond that, to me, in my humble opinion. So there's all kinds of interesting things going on. And before we move forward, I want to share this cool video. I really like this guy because he's always like, show me your favorite dance move. And I think he did a year-end quick video of the favorite ones. I guess this past year he asked 2,500 people. anything, I'm of that vibration. Because I'm really done with all of these rules. Right? Whatever that means. There's one more video I want to share with you that, like, literally lit my brain. Where did it go? Here it is. And I hope that this lights your brain too, because literally I was like, wait, what? And does he have an album? Where's his music? I did go look. I couldn't find it. If you do find it, let me know.
So can you show us how you can break a barrier, a musical barrier, go from one genre to another?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we were just messing around, being that we're at Julia, you know, Beethoven, you know. But you know, the blues. Gospel.
That is amazing.
So, for me, right? Control freaks, I can't deal. It's essentially like that box doesn't exist. Box doesn't exist, and those who have problems which is this mental setup. Where did it go? It's a mental setup. Those who suffer with this kind of mental setup literally is what's plaguing the world and is the problem. Because of the constructs, the social constructs is literally, and one could say, oh, it's because you're an anarchist. I don't believe in government. I believe in consent and mutual consent. But because of the Keynesian economic theory and the control freak bankers and their made up stuff of whatever it is, selling even this and selling this and perpetuating this, what are we perpetuating?
If you're going to be paid by an employer $20 an hour, the following statement must be true. During that hour, your labor produces more for the employer that he sells at the end of the day than $20 worth. Because that's why he's in the... If paying you 20, you went to work and you did an output that gave another 20 for him to sell, then he's got nothing out of this. He's made 20 by selling what your labor helped to produce, but he's got to give it to you. And even though he likes you, he's not going to do that. There has to be in it, here we go, something for him. You have to produce, this is ineluctable, you have to produce more in every hour than you get paid. Otherwise, this system doesn't work. For those of you, and I hate to tell you this because...
So let me rewind that a little bit. He's selling an idea and concept that unless you subscribe to it, that system doesn't work. Let's rethink the whole social construct.
For him, you have to produce, this is ineluctable, you have to produce more in every hour than you get paid. Otherwise, this system doesn't work. For those of you, and I hate to tell you this because partly you need to hear it, and partly I admit I get a kick out of telling you. Those of you who think that in a capitalist system, you're never going to work for anybody who doesn't pay you what you're worth, you don't understand the system you're in. That is never going to happen, because that's how this system works. When you go home at the end of a workday and you feel vaguely ripped off, it's because you are. And the psychologist or others who helps you get over that feeling isn't doing you any favor.
Right. So, you have these government schools, which are services that you are not required to use. Say that again. Government schools are services that you are not required to use. They indoctrinate your kids. Their very existence depends on dependency, and these kinds of social constructs and ideas, perpetuating them as normal, amongst other things. It's not family-centric or family values, right? Definitely not. So this is the disclaimer. If you travel beyond this point, you will be responsible for costs of search and rescue, personal responsibility code. I call Maha Paramashiva. I recommend you call upon who you call upon as God. So, decolonize your mind. So again, government schools are just a service. They are not mandatory. Recommend homeschooling. Why? Because the politicians and lobbyists are corporations selling, using, experimenting on your kids that go there. And then they try to sell this kind of team or family dynamic versus a actual home business family team dynamic. Very different. Very, very different. Even with the schools, they posture to disempower parents instead of trying to empower them to be. I mean, look at the kids that are coming out. On top of that, right, because they can't even balance a checkbook. They don't teach them anything, actual skills or whatever, stuff that you never use. But this is something that's very disturbing that you need to pay attention to. It's real.
What Poots is doing. I had a deep conversation with Steven Seagal last time I was in Dubai. And Steven told me first couple hours of school, those boys learn jab cross for like 2 years straight before they even throw a hook in PE. Jab cross. The kids are boxing in school as a part of their regimen. Russia's not fucking around. China's not fucking around. Nobody in BRICS is messing around. You think those Brazilian kids aren't learning jiu-jitsu every day? Meanwhile, they're allowing American young men to have TikToks and get their brain polluted and telling them that, they might or might not be a boy.
Right? Right? A very serious conversation that needs to be talked about. I'm talking about it. So in the things too, in the corporations, because it's all corporations, right? All of it is corporations. All of this elitist, supremacist, hierarchical, chosen ones mental setup, racism, using racism, imperialism, Nazism, Zionism, Brahmanism, Judaism. These are all banking strategies executed through all religions, countries, and cultures designed to divide and conquer, to enslave all the masses, which is you. And I get it. Work to the day, and if people don't have the time, I get it. It gets very challenging looking at the whole situation, and then people must be, motivated to, on their own accord, for making changes even in their own life. So in America, Boston Tea Party is still going on. It's the after party, right? Or whatever's going on. Because why? If you have to take the bar, then you go into college debt slavery. That's one level of debt slavery. To pledge allegiance to the bar, British accredited regency, pledge allegiance to Britain. To practice American law in the continental U.S., but if you're in Hawaii, to practice American law in Hawaii Kingdom during occupation, which is war, when laws of war apply. But even that, I'm still doing a lot more digging on the actual legal situationship. But it all points to Britain globally too. That's the narcissism. And basically, it's the colonizers that were running away from their narcissistic abuser, bringing their own stuff to the actual land of the free, which are earth peoples, who are inclusive of all gods and goddesses, and honor consciousness. They use treaties as bait and switch, and the bait and switch is for genocide, mass murder, right? Massacres. What's in your DNA, right? And just like there's all blood tech, it's all blood title. And are you complicit? You get blood on your hands? And because it's all corporations, and all of that is just to confuse the issue, and they all partying together, just like Dr. Shiva is sharing with his swarm video. Please go and watch his swarm video. I did put the link in the description, and go get educated and become a warrior scholar trained in the swarm. I want to share a video that actually, before that, I'm going to go into the recent AI lawsuit between the New York Times.
30 minutes ago, the New York Times filed what will probably be one of the most important lawsuits of our entire generation. Currently filed in district court in the Southern District of New York, but I can almost guarantee that whatever the decision will be, it's going to hit the Supreme Court. Unless you've been living under a literal rock, then you've probably heard about all of the good things and bad things about AI. New York Times is suing both Microsoft and OpenAI for billions of dollars. The damages portion of the bid, the more important part, deals with copyright law. Basically alleges that in the process of training these models for AI about how to work, things like ChatGPT and OpenAI use this process called scraping. It's sort of like what you and I do. We need to know something and we look it up online. Except these tools do it at a volume and speed that is practically incomprehensible. You stand my example, it's as if you and I needed to know the answer to something, but instead of us looking it up, we got 1 million people to look it up all at the same time across hundreds of thousands of different websites. Essentially data mining on a massive scale, but for the most part, it's all done without permission. A lot of news organizations have decided not to litigate, but instead to try to settle with these OpenAI and ChatGPTs of the world. So essentially just getting them to pay for the license to be able to scrape the material. Times has apparently gotten pretty frustrated with those discussions. Historically, the New York Times has been responsible for a ton of major legal precedent, so they're not afraid to sue, especially when they think the future of news or the free press or content is on the line. To mention the fact that federal copyright law allows for $150,000 in damages for each willful violation of copyright, and so the billions of dollars. We're going to come down to whether the courts decide that these AI technologies illegally copied content from sites like the New York Times in order to train their models. This is critical because it's all going to come down to what the legal definition of the fair use doctrine is. Probably heard before because it's litigated pretty often. My guess is when it hits the Supreme Court, they're essentially going to be deciding between two major precedents. First was a federal appeals court ruling in 2015 found that under fair use, Google was allowed to digitally scan millions of books for its Google Books library, finding that the product did not compete with the original works. In other words, it was not a suitable market substitute for books. On the other hand, in May of this year, the Supreme Court decided a case involving Andy Warhol and the late artist Prince, finding that Warhol was not protected by fair use when he used a photograph of Prince by Lynn Goldsmith, altered it, and then sold those images to magazines, saying that the copied work shared a highly similar purpose to the original one, therefore would run the risk of substituting the licensed version. Those will likely be the two most important precedents for deciding this case. A nearly 70-page complaint that was filed this morning that I will read because it could drastically impact and alter how we not just make content, but also how we consume it. Not to mention the entire future of AI. Why? Because federal law in cases like this allow for the infringing articles to be completely destroyed. Meaning if the Times wins, the court could order these AI technologies to destroy their data sets. They'd have to start over again using completely original or licensed work. But again, if the Times wins, then that might not be possible.
So those, if you watch this swarm, you'll understand that that's just one component of all of it. And as well, if you've been following me, and that's right, Kailasa has gained more momentum and success of all the content being erased from the web of all of this misinformation, slander that they've been hounding Swamiji for. So with the fake videos, from fake morphed videos, and at the time when it first came out and started happening, nobody believed that they were fake morphed videos. Now people are aware that technology is legitimate and available, and so yeah, even though he was, because why, he's been having a gurukul teaching powers for a very long time, and that's why they don't want him. They're trying every way to stop him, but now Kailasa is its own nation, recognized by the UN, and having the right things in line for these successes to come about now. And I've been doing a kahea to all the indigenous Aboriginal peoples and cultures to contact Kailasa at contact@kailasa.org. For just ask them how they did it or whatever, because Hinduism is talking about Aboriginal indigenous cultures being recognized. I did put a link to that information as well in the description. Please share that with those tribes, peoples, cultures. It needs to go viral for regaining of rights, human rights. So this last video I want to share tonight, so that we're going into the new year thinking about these things, right? This is really serious, with the understanding of how exponential AI is in mining data and stuff like that, as well as how the whole global network is, the way that any place can be infiltrated, watch this.
Do you think we need to worry about what they're putting in our electronics?
Yeah, I'll give you one example. I bought this awesome vacuum called Tineco. It completely connects to a Chinese server to transmit and receive information. And when you plug it in, it says, charging started, charging stopped. I can control that with my computer through a Chinese cloud server. There's no reason that vacuum and mop should connect to a Chinese cloud, but it does. And at any point, they could change the way that functionality works and take over my home network with this vacuum mop. So,
Are you serious with a vacuum mop?
Yep.
Right? Things to think about, right? Even that, get this Temu site, that's Chinese, right? Where are these Chinese products coming in from? Amazon? They're already here. I'm talking about decades ago, at least a decade, at almost 2 decades ago, from my own real on the ground knowledge to what I know in the farming section, because I used to have a farm school for ancient practices, a farm and a farm school for that. The Chinese were already, because of the debt, right? The cash for clunkers was all to give the actual material for the debt we owed to China, right? That's what it was for. It wasn't for helping anything. Now we got the card anyway. But those Chinese corporations who have farms, whether it's livestock or anything like that, they don't have to abide by the FDA standards. And a couple weeks ago, or when I was doing the force majeure, 25 days force majeure Christmas, I did share on about the Chinese, the request to stop any travel to China and this and that because of this and that. Well, it's already here through the products. If you're buying it, right, it's already here. America is not America, and I don't know if it's even Britain. Is it Chinese? Or is all that a front? Is it really the swarm? And I believe it's the swarm, right? Disconnecting families, health going down, pandemics, the next pandemic, right? What's going on? So for me personally, I'm just like, global peace treaty is actual and factual humanitarian law. They posturing and threatening with the World War III. I'm like, force majeure all the way. Followed up with global bureau conveyance, and then the final piece de la resistance. Mothers to be empowered and encouraged to have their own country, because we're the only ones who actually perpetuate. Ladies, what are we perpetuating? And a vast majority of men are enamored with the sounds coming out of their mouth that have actually no any sense or logic or even cosmic logic to that beyond their own ego. So what are we perpetuating, right? And then the final vibration is just like, no, mothers, all mothers, to initiate in third eye Kundalini through umbilical cord initiation, because mother and father is the first guru. Get in line, right? No, that's the foundation. And let's go back to families governing themselves, right? So I'm in the that's what I'm about. So I'm looking for those who understand what I'm talking about and have that same vibration as I do. I would say this, get all kinds of people talking all kinds of stuff. But when it comes to the level of vibrational integrity from where I'm operating, my integrity, other people have their own integrity, right? But based on my integrity, I'm looking around, and it's just like, well, I guess I gotta put this shit together myself, somehow figure this out. When it should be like a team effort, but everybody got too high maka or freaking, I don't even know. It's case by case issue, and I'm like thoroughly done. I am thoroughly done. Cosmos knows there's not much I really care about, right? I'm not for name and fame, because I don't care. I'm putting it out there. Whoever can make it happen, go make it happen. Right? Right. The thing is, it comes down to, can you hold that Trishul? Yeah. I can barely hold on to that Trishul. Swamiji can barely even deal with me. He just don't. He just don't. Because fucking Trishul gonna come out and start beating him too. Be like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. All I know is that I ain't going anywhere. Swamiji ain't going anywhere. Nobody's going anywhere. We're eternal beings. And, yeah. At some point, Pono is going to happen. Where it's taking care of each other. Not setting people up to throw them under a bus. Or use them as guinea pigs. All of this non-full disclosure because of your own vested interests, yeah? Well, with third eye and Kundalini, right? Mind reading, right? Anyway, I'll leave it at that. So the future is Gurukuls and power manifestation. You're either power manifesting or you're not. And just go for attend Parma Shivoham for serious. Well, thank you so much for listening. Let's close with a closing prayer. I prefer silence. You're welcome to say the prayer of your tradition in that communion, praying for peace. Peace for you, peace for me, global peace. Thank you so much. Aloha. Nityanandam. Have a good evening.